Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today what I want to do is I want to discuss how it's kind of a bit of a weird time to be a Digimon fan. Now obviously, you know, while we're still kind of getting content from Digimon, like merchandise and all this, it also feels like we're not getting anything new, which is my main point here. So I'm going to discuss about like the video games, the toys, the anime, just pretty much everything, card game, just pretty much everything, give kind of my take on it. The video games are in such a weird position right now, because I feel like the games we've gotten lately are all ports of games we received almost 10 years ago, which is really strange. Like even recently this year, we just received a port for Digimon World Remastered, and no one knew it was coming. I know plenty of people were asking for it. Not a whole lot of people knew this was coming though. It was just kind of weird that we're getting a game that was released in like 2015 to the Switch and to PC. Like, what's it, nearly 10 years later? It's just really strange. As well as that, we also had I think the last time we got a brand new Digimon game, before Survive obviously, was Hacker's Memory, and that was like 2018. And then I think in like, what was it, 2019 or 2018, we got a collection for that, like a port for Sleuth and Hacker's Memory for the Switch and PC. It's so weird because the only new Digimon game we've actually got was Survive, and Survive, really weird Digimon game to be coming out with, because it was just, there's so many issues with Survive. Okay, so Survive, people assume it was gonna be like your regular JRPG Digimon game that what we've normally seen, but it was a visual novel. Obviously it was like, damn, that's not, if you've been on a hiatus for making Digimon games for 5 years, maybe a visual novel is not the way to go. I love Survive, okay, I like a lot of stuff that they done with it, especially if it's like, for me it was like the first manga that we got in English. Okay, that's what I took it as. I genuinely enjoyed that game. It was dark, it was gritty, it was like, the characters in it were amazing, the story, there was a lot going on with Survive that was actually, it just was awesome. It was mind-blowing for Digimon fans, right? But the fact that this is also the most polarizing Digimon game we've ever seen is just nuts. There's people coming in, obviously, like Digimon fans, or like hardcore fans, knew about this. They followed it since I think it was announced in 2018. Everyone followed it. It's like we were waiting for it. We've seen all the pushbacks. It sucked to see it, but then when it came out, you know, a lot of us, the majority of us, actually enjoyed it. There are people that really love the game, like I said, but there's also people that absolutely hate the game. Now, the majority of these fans aren't like hardcore Digimon fans. These kind of like just jump in every now and again to kind of see what the fuck we're doing over here. Say, hey, they got some new Digimon stuff, let's check that out. Maybe it's because, I don't know, they're mostly Pokemon fans or whatever, they love monster raising games. They're like, oh, let's try this out, you know? Something similar, I suppose. But then they jump in and say, god damn, I have to read all this. This is like a 50-hour game, and I have to read every bit of it, and I have to play it 3 times or 4 times to get every ending. God damn. But no, it's kind of weird, because I remember some of the debates over that game when that game first came out. The amount of upset people, it was just, it's kind of weird. So yeah, it's like, it's kind of a weird time to be a Digimon fan as far as like video games, just because of that. We haven't, you know, seen anything new that a lot of people can really get on. Now, that's not to say there's nothing new coming, it's just we haven't had much news. There's obviously the new story game that Habu is working on. There's also the MMO he's working on. We haven't heard much of, if anything, about that since maybe 2016. It's kind of weird, but I am hopeful that we're going to get some new news on Digimon games, hopefully in DigiFest when that comes around. If not, then we need something by Digimon Con 2024, because come on, man, we need some new Digimon games. Like I said, all we've really been getting lately is very experimental stuff like Survive, or ports like what we've seen with Next Order and Sleuth. Which, look, I'm a massive fan of Digimon, but goddamn, we need to see something new. Moving on from there, I suppose, let's talk about some toys and merchandise, okay? So all the merchandise that Digimon comes out with, 90% of it, okay, I'm not even exaggerating, 90% of what we see is adventure oriented, and I'm gonna get a little bit more into that when it comes to talking about anime, but it's a little bit, you know, it's playing too much into the whole nostalgia thing. Look at like the whatever Vpets we do get. How many times have we got the DM20th? I was talking to someone there not too long ago just about how often we have gotten the DM20th. We've got the initial releases that we got over here. We got a wave 2 over here. There was a Japanese one, got a couple of waves. They even had those exclusive ones that we didn't get over here, which was the Royal Knight ones, or Zubamon and Omegamon, Alphamon, those ones. We never got those over here. That's another version. Damn, what else we got? We got the Kenji Watanabe ones that were going to be coming out, I think is later this year, and it's the Metal Greymon and Numamon, like graffiti style ones. It's a bit much, but we're not done. We've also got the DMOG, which got a version color for all 5 versions. They've been, I think 3, 4 and 5 are up for pre-order if they're not already sold out, but 1 and 2 is already released, and again, it's pretty much the same thing. It's just in color and has like a couple of extra Digimon in there. That's it. I don't know. It's kind of weird because Digimon used to be this thing that was like, it was so innovative when it came to Vpets, and just now it's just, it hasn't been that for so long. I feel like Digimon is what, Digimon Tamagotchi obviously, but mostly Digimon for me is what was kind of like, it pushed a lot of Vpet companies to kind of go out there and really try do something different back, I don't know, about 15-20 years ago. And nowadays it's just, it's not doing anything like that anymore. It's like that stuff doesn't exist. Like it says, we're all just getting, you know, DM20s, DMOGs or whatever. It was like, but now we also have the VB, which I suppose I have to talk about that as part of this, I suppose, because it is a VPET, okay? It's a very different style of VPET, which, talking about innovation, I'm happy about that. It is something different. It was the first colored Digimon device that we actually got as well, aside from the what was that one, the crossloader, which I don't think ever made a European release over here. It kind of sucked, but let's see. It was like the VB is really awesome, okay? There's a lot of people that really wanted to get in on the VB. Now, its execution wasn't perfect, obviously. I still think there's some things they could still fix, but obviously the way they're doing it now is we can update the firmware and stuff for the new BE, which is amazing. I'm very happy with that. Where it really falls off, though, is the app. The app does not always work, if you get me. The app has so many issues. I'll just leave it because there's so many. I'll just leave a video open on the top screen. You just have a look if you want to see some of those issues and some of the horror stories that people have shared with me over what's happening with their apps. But I think lately, the last month or so, has not been too bad. There are some, obviously, the lasting glitches from November or whatever are still there. But the main issues now, I suppose, with events that most newer players are getting is stuff like, you know, longer load times, which really suck, and sometimes their battles might be cancelled midway, causing you to lose, you know, one of your plays or one of your turns or whatever. Does suck. I'm hopeful that they're gonna fix it. I'd say they will, but it's just they're taking too long on this one, to be honest. And again, that's one thing, is kind of like, it's like a bittersweet kind of thing with the merchandise. We are getting new stuff, but it's kind of like it doesn't function, or it's stuff we've seen before. It's like, just give us something new. And the anime is not too different. So the Digimon anime is obviously, I think, pretty much every kid's favorite thing back in the early 2000s. Like when Digimon first came out, there was a lot of people that was talking about the anime, especially for when I was going to school. There's a lot of people that was talking about it, whether it was comparing it to Pokemon or just talking about different points in the anime itself. It was mostly positive, and it did actually keep conversation. It was a very, very interesting kind of a thing, but nowadays not so much. Like if you look at Adventure 2 and Season 3 Tamers, that's what I mostly got to see, because the rest of them just were few and far between for releases over here in Europe. But they were so different. Compared to Pokemon, we were getting like a story, we were getting, you know, character development, we were getting to learn a little bit more about this new world. But we don't really get to see that in these newer seasons. I think the last time we got something that was actually really good was Atmon. But again, Atmon was really weird because it's Digimon, but it's not Digimon. Bandai did not want to market it as Digimon by the looks of it. I mean, like, even the games and stuff, when the toys and all came out, Bandai was trying to say, is like, okay, this is something different. This is going to be like branching off for another audience. We're going to keep Digimon for the adult audience, make this for kids. The second people heard that, they're like, what, this is a kid's show? No, I'm not watching that. But I urge you, go on. I think it's on Crunchyroll here for Europe at least. Go and check out Atmon. It is actually really good. I haven't watched all of it myself yet because I just keep fucking getting tied up. I'm terrible at watching animes lately, to be honest, anyways. But I do recommend that you go and check it out. It is actually really good, really well written, and I love seeing some of the new designs for these Atmons. It's just how they fit into this new world. So moving on from there, I don't know what the hell happened here, but we went into Adventure 2020. Now, we've obviously been littered with adventure stuff over the years, you know, Tri Kizuna, you know, we're even getting the new 02 movie coming out later this year. It's kind of like we're getting so much adventure stuff. I always spoke about like the merchandise. There's so much like focus on nostalgia, and it's not just Digimon, it's pretty much everything, okay, in like the entertainment industry. Look at Disney, how many times are they gonna remake some of their movies? Even video games. I mean, like, pretty much everything we're seeing in modern day media is kind of like, it's all ports or remakes or stuff that's kind of like spin-offs of stuff that was done years back, like the 90s or the 80s or whatever. I really just want just the industry as a whole just to get to a point where we can see some new ideas again. But yeah, Adventure 2020 came out, and it just kind of sucked because as much as I wanted to see the whole gang come back, you know, for another season, it kind of almost just retold a lot of stuff that was in the original season, not to a T, like it wasn't the exact one-to-one, but there's a few elements in there that were kind of like remixed or whatever. It was mostly just Tai and Agumon as well, which I'm a massive fan of Tai and Agumon. But goddamn, we don't need to see them for like 90% of the entire anime. I think the best thing with Adventure was the character development of every character. Watching how they all interacted with each other. We didn't really see that at all, which really sucks. Going to Ghost Game, obviously. Ghost Game. I wanted to like Ghost Game, okay? I really wanted to like Ghost Game, but I just can't. I can't. Because Ghost Game was like, when I first seen it, it was so promising. It was so dark. It was gritty. You know, it was like the stories, it's like that was trying to set itself up to. It's like, damn, this is gonna be so interesting. It's gonna remind me so much of like Tamers. It wasn't Tamers at all, and that sucked because Tamers was one of my favorite seasons of Digimon, if not my favorite. I always struggle to pick between that and Adventure Season 1. But goddamn, Ghost Game, it was just a lot of empty promises. Ghost Game, I'd say if you took all like 67 episodes, I feel like it was, if you took all 67 episodes of Ghost Game, took out all the filler, you're probably gonna be left with like 5 episodes, of which there's only like a handful of moments from each episode that actually work. The ending was so sloppy, it was like just jam-packed into like 2 episodes when they hadn't focused on the plot for the entire series. It's just, it's not a great look, and I fail to understand why they done this. Like character development was non-existent in Ghost Game. My favorite example is probably of Kyoshiro. Kyoshiro was just always just a wuss, a massive wuss. And I remember there was this one episode where he's in the supermarket or whatever, and he's trying to run away from these like small little spider Dokugumon things, and I don't know, he comes across this little girl who's lost and he's trying to help her, and he obviously, you know, he toughens up, he's a little bit braver, and he goes on to the next fight, and he's got that kind of energy with him the whole way through this episode. But come the next episode is reset. Now, I don't know what it is, but I know a lot of people really loved Ghost Game. A lot of people loved it. I think it's because these are like newer Digimon fans. They're just coming into Digimon, they're starting to see this. And obviously Monster Raised in anime or whatever from back in the day were kind of episodic, so it kind of lines up with that. But for Digimon fans that have been following for so long, it is so different. Now, this is not to say that every OG fan is gonna absolutely love this or hate this or whatever, you know. There's obviously very mixed opinions on Ghost Game, but I feel like for people like myself that love the story, that love to see the character development and stuff like that, we were kind of robbed with that on Ghost Game, because Ghost Game, like I says, it has so much promises, but it just wasn't there. And that's why the anime does so well for Digimon, I think. But I don't know. Look, I'm hopeful that the next thing that we see from Digimon or Toei is going to work out really well. Especially with, like, I think Digimon's been in their top 3 earners for the past like 2 or 3 years now, which is amazing, and I'm glad Digimon's doing so well. But again, it's just kind of weird to be a fan of Digimon at this point where so much is happening, but it's so much of nothing at the same time. It's kind of like, it worries me because I love the franchise and I kind of want to see it go to bigger and, you know, bigger, greater heights, whatever. It's kind of like just reach new kind of like I can't reach wider audiences or whatever. But I'm worried that stuff like this might stifle it, because Digimon has like been a huge thing for me since I was a kid, and I know it's probably the same for a lot of you guys. And it's like, I don't know, I feel like lately they've just kind of like forgot that, and I think it's mostly just because they're clouded in nostalgia because something worked before. I don't know. I done a stream there called Problems with Digimon. I'll leave it linked up in the top. I'll go into a lot more of this stuff more in depth if you want to check that out. But damn, I just feel like a little bit let down by some of the stuff that's going on with Digimon at the moment. Now moving on to the card game, because it's not all doom and gloom. The card game is doing absolutely amazing. The card game is like in the top 4 best-selling card games at the moment, which is absolutely sick. That's so awesome, because Digimon has had a troubled past with card games. Okay, we've had several card game iterations and not one of them would stick. Okay, so we had like Digital Card Battle, like the English release of the card game. We had Hyper Coliseum in Japan. We've had, which Hyper Coliseum, to be fair, in Japan actually sold really well and stayed quite kind of like relevant for years. It just never made its way over here, unfortunately. We collectible card games. We also had card games for video games, like we had the Digital Card Arena or whatever it was for the PS1, but we also had a version of the card game that was on Digimon World Trio 2003. It's kind of weird that we've had these things. It's like not one of them would kind of stick, but now we have this new card game and it's doing really well. It's the 4th best-selling card game. It's like, it's some amazing artwork on there on some of those cards. It's like, it's just doing really, really well. But there's an issue because we haven't got an online client for it yet, despite Bandai teasing it with surveys way back when it released. There was, questions obviously asking people would they like to see an online version of the card game, and it's just, I don't know, we just haven't seen that yet. It's just really weird because I feel like we should at this point have seen something, but we've a load of nothing yet again. But I'm hopeful we're going to see something like that, because the card game, like I said, it's probably the one part of the Digimon franchise that's doing really, really well at the moment, besides the BE, obviously. But yeah, I know it's pretty much some of my thoughts on this. It's just, like I said, it's just something I was kind of thinking about. It's really weird with being a Digimon fan right now. Like I said, check out that stream I was talking about earlier, the Problems with Digimon. I'll leave it linked up on top of the screen there. Also on the screen, I'm going to put up my Digimon documentary that I made there with several other Digisugars. Do check that out. It's actually, I think it's a good watch to kind of like give you a little bit of history behind some of the stuff with Digimon from back in the early 90s all the way up to present day. So yeah, thanks very much for watching. We'll see you again. Bye bye.